Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
All right, we have reached one of the apexes of breaking down live-action Batman movies, and that is Justice League. We are going to get into both versions, both the Joss Whedon version and the Snyder Cut, also known as Zack Snyder's Justice League, in this today. And if you thought our opinions on BVS were wildly different, I have a feeling you are in for a shock with this one, because they're probably even more so with this. Case in point, Matt, you actually just watched the Joss Whedon one for the first time since it came out in theaters just yesterday or the day before, right?
That is correct, yes. And I think I was even messaged you, like, I thought it was a 90-minute cut.
Nope.
So there were scenes I'm watching, and I was like, I didn't think this was in the version I saw in the theater.
Yeah, it was because they learned the wrong lessons from BVS.
Yes.
Because BVS is 2.5 hours, the Ultimate Edition is 3. And one of the smaller complaints people had about BVS was that they felt like it was too long, which I think was more of an editing problem with the 2.5 hour cut that made it feel longer than it was, because it was poorly paced in that edit. And so they were like, well, let's keep it under 2 hours, and which is insane for a Justice League movie. So Joss Whedon was like, okay, I will literally keep it under 2 hours. It is 1 hour and 59 minutes.
Yeah.
To meet that duration mandate. Not to mention, this movie is plagued from day one.
This is where, like, Man of Steel comes out and they do the whole, we don't know what we're going to do next, and that's where Batman vs Superman comes from.
Yeah.
And the one thing that they kind of learned is that a lot of people complained about the wanton destruction in Man of Steel. So you have lines of dialogue in Batman vs Superman is like, oh, well, it's good that this is an abandoned place we're going to decimate with our battle right now.
Yeah, that felt like such a studio note.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, you guys paid Anderson Cooper money to read that line. Like, but also I do agree with, I don't agree, but I will say that I think the fact that that was a problem for people was kind of asinine. It's like, nobody had this complaint during the Avengers. Nobody had this complaint during Godzilla. Actually, what I love is when a year after Man of Steel, when the first Godzilla movie comes out in 2014 with Bryan Cranston, is if you've ever seen the How It Should Have Ended cartoons on YouTube, they did one for Godzilla. And as he's going into the water at the end, Superman shows up and goes, wait. You guys are clapping and cheering for him, but I got told I was a bad person. He destroyed like 5 cities in this movie.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of a weird complaint to suddenly have. It felt like people were looking for things to be mad at with Man of Steel. So yeah, you get into BVS and there's that, and then they double down on that in Justice League, particularly with the Joss Whedon cut.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Man of Steel when we do our Man of Steel episode one of these days.
Yeah. Didn't we do that already? I don't know. I can't keep track anymore. We're coming up on 100 episodes. Guys, we're coming up on 100 episodes. We got something special planned for that, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah. Well, let me ask you a straightforward question then, Matt. Of the two versions, which one, just in terms of being just in terms of an altogether beginning to end narrative film, which one do you think is the better of the two?
See, here's where you're going to have to let me go on a rant for a second.
Ah, shit.
So no matter what, in my opinion, neither one of these movies are any good.
Okay.
I think they have a serious issue. The same issue Batman vs Superman had is that for some reason Batman's an idiot. And that bugs me. Among other things. I
need you to elaborate on that a bit.
Well, just like, that he has questionable morals and integrity when he decides he's going to bring back somebody he never really liked, but for some reason he likes now in this movie.
Okay.
So there's a couple things that I don't know, for me, work in the narrative from these three films.
Okay.
But I don't think... So all that to say, I used to make a big joke when they were talking about the Snyder Cut being released that it's just going to be a different color of diarrhea. I don't think that now. I
Okay.
haven't watched the theatrical cut since it was out in the theater. I haven't watched the Zack Snyder version since it first came out.
Okay.
And I will say, honestly, they are not the 2 or 3 that I originally gave them.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4 or 5
Out of 10
out of 10.
for the theatrical or for the Snyder cut.
Both.
Okay, you're giving them both a 5 out of 10. Let's call it.
Correct, because I think between these 2 movies,
Mhm.
there is a third edit that I think would really work for this film.
Okay.
N- at the same time, I still think it's dumb, but I think there is a faster pace to the Whedon version that
Mhm.
I prefer, but it still is not a good
Well,
movie.
because the Snyder cut is just him playing with house money. It's
Correct.
literally like this is going to streaming, and they gave him like I think they gave him like 50 million to finish it because there was like a lot of VFX that needed done, scenes that needed shot, like there was stuff that it was an incomplete movie.
Yeah.
So they gave him like a $50 million budget, I think it was, to go finish it. That's why there's a couple of times where the CG's not all it could be, but it's one of those. It was like this was obviously a scene they did in the Snyder Cut reshoots that they were like, we are on a shoestring budget, do the best you can.
Yeah.
So I think you are right in that there is a shorter version of the Snyder Cut that works, but because it's basically a no rules, no holds barred cut of a movie, um, while I personally enjoy it from a fanboy standpoint, I do agree it's like that 4-hour movie could never get released in theaters.
Yeah, and here's where I'll give major kudos.
Okay.
I may think the movie's dumb as crap, but you know what? I signed up for Max to watch
Yeah.
that damn movie. It did what they wanted it to do.
Yeah.
They only released the Snyder Cut on HBO Max. Even now, when all the DCEU movies are on Netflix, the Snyder
Yeah.
Cut's not there.
Well, that's more of a rights and contract issue than a
Well, my point more is
context
that
question issue.
they released that movie at the exact same
Yeah.
time they killed DC Universe and brought all the DC stuff to HBO Max.
Well, it's because nobody was signing up for DC Universe.
Correct. So they moved all the
Nobody was signing up for it.
they move all that stuff to HBO Max. They release this. It does its job. I think it's a hot mess.
Mhm.
But I honestly was surprised that I thought they were 2 completely different movies. I just kind of look at the Snyder Cut as like it's just this crazy extended version, and there are scenes in the Whedon version
Yeah.
I still like the one that you like, the whole like just save one.
I've said it a million times. It breaks my heart that that's a Joss Whedon scene and didn't make it into the Snyder Cut because I think that's a very good exchange.
Yeah, I like the part, even though it's weird, the part where Aquaman steals a lasso of truth, and he goes on that whole weird like we're
Oh,
all
where
gonna die.
when he sits on it.
Yeah, and he's like, "We're gonna die. You're
I
hot as
think
hell." Da, 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 da. And I
I
thought it
think
was
it is an
kind of cute.
objectively funny moment. Like just from a writing standpoint, that's very good comedy writing. It does not. It throws the tone. It's one of those moments where it's like, this is not the moment for this joke, though. Same thing with when in the Joss Whedon cut when Flash is running around and trips and falls into Wonder Woman's boobs. I'm like, okay. And then especially as now in 2024, when we know the things we know about Joss Whedon, it's like, that scene feels even dirtier now.
Yeah, and that's like I'm not gonna say there's like some superior version between the two, but I think like there are scenes in the Whedon version, there's scenes in the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Like, do I truly like? It was kind of funny. The guys the co-hosts of the Fanboy Junction podcast from back then, we still have a group chat. It just so happens they started talking about the Snyderverse Whedon cut and the Snyder cut like 3 hours ago.
It's funny that you mentioned that too. You know, as we're mentioning James Gunn here, we didn't talk about this at the top, but Rachel Brosnahan confirmed on the red carpet for the Emmys they start shooting Superman Legacy in March.
Yeah.
She said they asked her, she looked at her publicist like, am I allowed to say? Okay, yeah, we start shooting in March. And I'm like, oh, I texted you immediately and was like, we're getting a trailer at Comic-Con. There's no way we're not. They could start shooting in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That means they've got that'll be months of shooting. And if his you know, again, James Gunn is the guy that got us a trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy after like 2 weeks of shooting.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
and this is where I'll say this. Look, the writers were on strike
yeah.
and the actors are on strike.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean everybody else isn't still full board trying to get things ready so that once it's
Yeah.
off, we're good. Because
Well,
I'm
James Gunn confirmed as much. He was like, "Yeah, we didn't." He was like, "The whole time we were on strike, everyone else was at work." He, you know,
yeah,
VFX team was getting their stuff ready. The sets were being built. The costumes were being designed. He's like, we're yeah. The writer strike set us and the actor strike set us back as far as like actual shooting. He's like, but honestly, that just gave us more time to do location scouting and getting all the other pre-pro
yeah,
ducks in order.
yeah. So that's going to be exciting. But
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of scenes like do I care about Cyborg in general?
No.
And this is where I brain farted earlier.
Okay.
Is I quote unquote was raised with Cyborg not on the Justice League.
As was I.
That's
That
that's
was
a new
a
52
new
thing.
52 thing. New 52 thing.
He's
Yeah.
he's always been a Teen Titan. Well, technically, for the most part, he's been a Teen Titans character. He did
Yeah.
start off in the Super Friends, but in comic book wise, he's always been a Teen Titans character. So him even being in this movie annoys the crap out of me. So do I need more backstory for him? No, but I think there's a balance between at least tell us something about him more.
Yeah.
Like, do I need the football and the mom and all that? No, I don't need any of that stuff. But I think between him and the Flash, I don't like. Oh my gosh, what is
Ezra
his
Miller.
name? Ezra Miller as the Flash. I think is a horrible casting choice, especially if you make him Barry Allen. If you made him Wally West, I think I'd be a little bit more on board.
I've said that kind of since day one. It's like it's not that I don't like Ezra Miller as the Flash, it's that I don't like Ezra Miller as Barry Allen.
Yeah. Especially
That's
because you had Barry Allen on TV. Like, just make it Wally West.
well, yeah, that and that we've talked about that before. I mean, when because they announced Ezra Miller as the Flash in BVS at the same week, the same within like 48 hours of the Flash breaking like every television
Yeah.
ratings record known to mankind, because Stephen Amell was doing an interview, I think with Collider,
Yeah.
for their after show, and he basically was just like, "Yeah, like I'm not happy that they did that because he's like they rained on my buddy's parade pretty hard."
Yeah.
Which is, hey, here you are with the number one show on television. Yeah, we're not casting you in anything though. It was kind of neat that in the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing that I know Ezra Miller makes a cameo in one episode, and they have like a "You're Barry Allen, you're Barry Allen." Oh, that's cool. You know, that's neat. I like it. It's a little bit. I was a little bummed, and we talked about this in our Flash review. I was a little bummed that when he was looking at all these other multiverse
Yeah.
versions of other characters, we had that no actor listed Jay Garrick. That could have just been Grant Gustin as the Flash,
Or the guy who plays Jay Garrick in the show.
or the guy who plays Jay Garrick in the show, because it wasn't even him. You know, any
Yeah.
of them. Either Jay Garrick actor. It could have been the guy from the beginning of season 3 that turned out to be fake, or it could have been John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah.
You know, which would have also been a great nod to the Flash, because he was also the Flash in the original TV show.
Yeah.
So there, but that's a conversation about the Flash. But yeah, my thing with Cyborg is, while I am with you, which is like I felt like I understood why Cyborg was in this, because it was the most recent. You know, people who had maybe started with New 52 were like would have been more familiar. Also, Cyborg is an incredibly popular character, mostly thanks to the Teen Titans TV show. So I
Well, I
get why he
also
was included, but I will say, when you watch the two versions of the movie, you know, whether or not you needed all the Cyborg stuff in Justice League for your own taste is one thing, but it is such an emotional, well developed story, ripped almost entirely from the comics. He becomes the heart and soul of the movie in the Snyder cut, to where when you see how he's reduced to less than a supporting character in the Joss Whedon cut, it's like, okay, you made that wasn't just an editing faux pas. You made the conscious decision to cut him out of this movie.
yeah.
And
Maybe he
that,
doesn't want him in the Justice League.
I don't know. Well, but that was a Joss Whedon decision. Joss Whedon's the one that made those decisions. he's the one that reduced that role because he also changed the outcome of the character, because Silas Stone survives in the Joss Whedon one to the end.
Yeah.
He does not do that in the Snyder cuts. That was one of the, when I watched the Snyder cut for the first time, I was like, and they killed him off, I was like, wait, but he survived in the, whoa, Joss Whedon really, wow. Okay. So it's one, but I also feel like a lot of the Snyder cut is dependent on, you have to already be on board with the Snyderverse to enjoy the Snyder cut. If you're not on board with the Snyderverse, the Snyder cut's not going to change your mind.
No.
So that's where I think the hang up happens is I'm on record. I am on board with the Snyderverse. I quite enjoy the Snyderverse for the most part, but yeah, so that's why I think I like a lot of people really like the Snyder cut, because I'm dialed into that into that storytelling, into that universe. So now I will say, when I first saw Joss Whedon's Justice League, I walked in with everybody saying it was like one of the worst movies ever made. And I walked out of it going, y'all need to chill. Because people said the same thing about BVS, it was like the worst superhero movie ever made. And I'm like, okay, we need to calm down with the superlatives here, because did I like Justice League the first time I saw it? Yes. But similar to BVS, is I liked the theatrical cut. I saw the Ultimate Edition. It helped me realize, oh yeah, the original one didn't do that. This is better than what the original one did. And it made me it brought my score for the original down, because I saw how it should have been. And that's kind of what the Snyder cut did for me, which is like, I was lukewarm on the Joss Whedon one at best. And then after the Snyder cut, I was like, oh, this is what I could have had? Oh, Joss Whedon, you are on my shit list, sir. On my shit list, because especially the Cyborg stuff, which I really, as someone who didn't really grow up reading Cyborg and only knew him really from Teen Titans, the show mostly, and from Super Friends, to get all that backstory, here's what I'll equate it to. All the extraneous backstory stuff that you're saying that you didn't really need, and I kind of agree. It's the equivalent of another movie we just watched, which is Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1, where they spend 45 minutes going, oh yeah, we haven't built this world out at all. Quick, let's build this world out in 45 minutes. When you look at a lot of the backstory and extraneous stuff in the Snyder cut, regardless of whether or not it works for you, it's there to serve the same purpose, which is the studio wanted them to go ahead with this. It was too soon. They were in a rush. So now they've got to build out this world and then have this world be threatened.
Yeah.
So again, I think all of these problems just stem from studio interference, but then also, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the production of Justice League is plagued with problems behind the scenes. You had all the studio problems going on. Then you have the fallout with Zack Snyder and his wife after their daughter died from suicide. There's rumors that there was already problems behind the scenes before then. It's not that part is, we'll never know the truth as far as that goes. Going off of just the things we know, it's Zack Snyder's daughter dies from suicide. He and his wife are like, okay, yeah, we're out. We got to go deal with this, which is understandable for any human being. Joss Whedon at the time was attached to make a Batgirl movie, not the one that got inevitably canceled, and he had also been consulting on the set because the dude did 2 Avengers movies. So if you're going to do the DC Avengers movie, it makes sense to have him there. He took over on directing the reshoots that were set to happen. And basically what happened was, once Snyder was essentially out of the picture, Warner Brothers went to Joss Whedon and said, okay, now that dickhead's done, here's what we want you to do. And Joss Whedon didn't fight them on a single thing and gave them literally everything they wanted. And, despite what Willy Wonka says, when you give someone everything they've ever wanted, they don't become the happiest man on earth. You get an incredibly messy movie with bad color grading. bad editing, and don't even get and also what happens with Henry Cavill's face in this one scene at the beginning that didn't need to be there. My God, they that was Paramount and Warner Brothers not communicating. That is
being mean to each other.
that was just them being, it's like, well, we need him to shave his beard. No, he can't shave his beard. Do you guys not have a makeup person? Jesus, you can go buy a fake beard at Party City that'll look fine.
Yeah.
It's not even a beard. It's basically 5 o'clock shadow. He can grow that back after a week of not shaving. And instead you get this weird CGI mess on his face in the beginning during this weird, TikTok or whatever scene that's going on that doesn't need to be there.
Well, even in the scene between him and Lois, the reshoot that they kind of make it a little lighter in the Joss Whedon,
Yeah.
you can tell his face is just not right. Yes, ma'am. Like, all right, calm down, guys.
It's and again, that was Paramount being dicks is all it comes down to. And then there's the duration mandate, what they had to keep it under 2 hours, not 2 hours, under 2 hours.
Well, and this is where it goes into that. You've got Warner Brothers. This is where they really start doing the knee jerk reaction to everything, because if memory serves, like, he was planning on doing 2 Justice League movies. He was planning on doing
3.
Okay. So that's where, like, when you look at everything in the Snyder Cut, I could easily see how there's 2 movies of random stuff in here.
100%.
So now is the Snyder Cut we got what he had done? I'm going to say no.
No, it was if they're giving me 50 million, I'm going to use the 50 million and I'm going to shoot everything I can that will make a lick of sense. That's why we get the Martian Manhunter stuff. That's why we get the
nightmare sequence at the
nightmare
end.
sequence, which I will say that one and the one that's in BVS, I don't give a shit. I love those. I love that stuff. That I don't know why it works for me. I'm just bummed out we're never going to know the whole story. I would also dare say Jared Leto's Joker in the 2 minutes of screen time he has in the Snyder Cut is better than his entire role in Suicide Squad.
I will agree with you on that.
Because everybody bitched about his portrayal in Suicide Squad. I didn't have a particular problem with it. It just was a totally out of left field different take that I wasn't prepared for. Also, Suicide Squad sucks, but that's really not Jared Leto's Joker is not the problem with Suicide Squad. He's got 5 minutes of screen time.
It's one of the many problems with the movie.
Yeah, and it's pretty close to the bottom of the list when you account for the fact he's got a couple scenes in the beginning and a quick 5 seconds at the end. Like he's not really in the movie a whole lot.
Yeah.
But people forget how good of an actor Jared Leto is when you just let him breathe and chew some scenery. And the exchange between him and Batman at the end of the Snyder Cut, I'm like, something that you texted me about earlier, which is like, Jesus Christ, we never got a movie of these two. We never got a Batfleck and Jared Joker movie of the two of them just chewing scenery against each other. And we as fans were robbed.
Look, I was thinking about this earlier, and I think I've changed my mind about something. The true gigantic crime of us not getting more of this Snyderverse is we didn't get Dude as Alfred more. Him teaching an immortal woman how to properly make tea.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
Is like relenting to his advice. Cracks me up. And
then he's right. And then he's right.
Yeah. Or like any scene with Ben Affleck and him. Freaking gold in this.
Jeremy Irons is the unsung hero of the Snyderverse. Jeremy Irons as Alfred is Patrick Stewart as Xavier, genius level casting. And he and Ben Affleck, first of all, Jeremy Irons has chemistry with everybody he's on screen with in this movie. Him and Henry Cavill have 15 seconds together. It's it's fantastic. Every exchange he has with someone in this movie is awesome. And yes, because we were robbed of more Batfleck, we were robbed of more Alfred. He's even great in the little bit of time we get with him in The Flash. And it's just, man, we had something truly special with Ben Affleck and Jeremy Irons. And yeah, not getting more of them is heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking because it's easily some of the best stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
easily in either movie.
And look, I can still appreciate acting even
Yeah.
if I don't like the movie.
Oh,
Like
sure.
for them, like do Cavill, Irons, Affleck, Godot isn't that bad in
I
this
think
one.
I think this movie and Wonder Woman are the best she is in all and everything she
Yeah.
does for DC.
Like, and that's another one too. Is like any scene that's Batman and Wonder Woman in this movie is really cool, and I think I
And
prefer
they
the
got
scene.
chemistry.
Yeah, I think I prefer when he becomes a dick and she shoves him, and you
Mhm,
have that moment of like, bro, she could literally rip you in half. Calm down.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's why I say there's scenes in these two movies. Like there is a I don't know, a fan cut, a Hasso cut of Justice League. I don't know what you want to call it, but I
maybe.
think I'm not going to do it. But
No, no, we don't have that kind of free time.
yeah, but no, I again, like I, it's not a, in my opinion, it's not a great movie, but there are like the black suit is comic book accurate for when he's resurrected.
And you know what? It doesn't look bad.
It looks pretty freaking cool.
It doesn't look bad. I was
And
worried that it was going to look dumb on screen because you hear stories about like Age of Ultron, how they tried to do the Gray Hulk for the scene when he goes nuts, and they said it just didn't. They couldn't get the CG to look
hmm,
good on screen. And so when they said they were doing the black suit, I'm like, cool, but that black and gray when most of your stuff is CGI can look a little rough, and it looked pretty darn good.
yeah, the given it the explanation that his original suit is gone, he's gone
Yeah.
back to the ship, put on this new suit, and left. Sure,
Well,
it's
because we
cool.
see that when they were going through to drop his body off as all the suit, and we saw that in Man of Steel too. There was a bunch of different suits, and actually, honestly, the black suit we see him in his black suit in Man of Steel in when he's having that thing with Zod when
Yeah.
Zod's in his head. Briefly, he's in his black suit in
Well,
that.
it's the undersuit of their armor.
Yeah,
So
because
he
Zod even wears basically his version of the black suit when he takes his armor off and stuff
yeah, it's like they're underoos, they're long
on
johns,
the roofs.
they're long johns or something.
Yeah,
No, like I've been really surprised, honestly, watching. I will watching Man of Steel,
Mhm.
Batman versus Superman, the two versions of Justice League. They're not complete and total crap. Again, I'm not going to say they're great movies,
Sure.
but like I really do go like, man, I really wanted that
There
Batfleck
was
movie.
me, man. It's you look at it as a whole, as the whole Snyderverse as a whole, and you're just like, there was something here. There was something here. Especially, I look at it like this may not, you may not get this reference, but Metallica's Saint Anger album, not a good album, but each one of those songs, it's like there's something there.
Yeah,
There's something in each of those songs. Like this could have been awesome, but it just didn't get there all the way. And I think that's been the Snyderverse and just everything pre James Gunn up to from Man of Steel to Aquaman: The Last Kingdom, which is all insane. Um, there's some each movie, regardless, even Suicide Squad. That first trailer for Suicide Squad that dropped at Comic Con, like, was unsettling.
yeah.
It was, and we also know that later on, because there was a complaint that BVS was too dark, they basically made them go back and recut Suicide Squad and turned it into what we got.
An action movie.
No, that's insulting to action movies. I don't know, dude. We haven't really talked about Suicide Squad much. It's a terrible movie. It's not good. The Suicide Squad is considerably better, but yeah, with the Justice League movies, it's just it's this is literally Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong with this movie's production did go wrong, and while I'm grateful to the studio for giving Zack Snyder just the opportunity, whether or not it was your bag, the fact that they gave him the opportunity to make essentially his completed film and then some, speaks wonders, I think, to the faith they had in him. Too little, too late. Where it's like, yeah, if you'd had this kind of faith in him before, we
Yeah.
might not have had some of these problems, but
Well, I think they had faith in the dollar, and that's why they had him do it. Because, like I said, like
yeah,
everybody signed up for HBO Max to watch that cut.
they needed something to launch HBO Max with. All they really had was the next season of Harley Quinn at that time. They didn't
Yeah.
have much to launch it with. Now it's my favorite streaming service, period. Because all the DC stuff's there, all of South Park is there, most of Mel Brooks is on there. Now, since the merger with everybody, now all the Food Network stuff's on there. I've been watching so much Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives while I've been homesick.
Now, my new favorite streaming service is Freevee because they have the original Night Court on there.
Fair, that's fair. I'm half a step away from paying for Peacock just so I can watch Ted, because I hear the Ted series is absolutely like the best thing Seth MacFarlane's ever done.
The new teddy bear one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I love those movies. And I hear the show is hysterical, like the funniest thing he's ever made. But back to Justice League. Just to kind of, it's not a whole, like, this is probably going to be our shortest breakdown other than Batman and Robin, just because the story of the Justice League movie is in and of itself, it's such a mess. It's such a just choppy sea with a little tugboat on it. And it's hard to really rate either movie because they're both incomplete movies. One is this weird hack editing job full of studio notes, and the other is kind of this weird Frankenstein monster of what
Here's
Zack
all
Snyder
my ideas.
all my ideas at once, because this is it. I'm not going to get to do anything else. So here's what I can. Here's everything I'm able to give you. Here's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's hard to rate either one of them as far as being a movie, because they're both just two incomplete movies. I think the Snyder one is the closest to a complete movie, because the Joss Whedon one, again, is next to BVS, is some of the worst editing and worst post-production. And I know that's hard stuff, but that's some of the worst post-production work I've ever seen. The color grading just is so bad, it makes the CGI stand out even more. That scene when they're all trying to subdue newly resurrected Superman, when you compare how they look in both versions, the Snyder one just looks better because it doesn't have that crappy color grading. It looks more like what the world was supposed to, the Whedon one looks like, you remember back on an old TV when you go to the dial and you could crank the color settings up?
Yeah.
It looks like that's what he did. It
Well,
looks
and I
so
think,
bright and fake.
well, and that's where I go, like, remember at this point, like they were changing their mind every other month about what the DCEU was going to be.
God, they weren't
So,
even
like,
sure what to call. They were calling it something different at the time too. They
yes,
changed their name on
they
what they were
changed it.
calling it.
They wanted to call it the DC Film Universe, and they realized the acronym was DCFU, and they stopped.
Then
But
it
I
was
think,
DCEU, then it was Worlds of DC, which is dumb.
yeah, I like DCFU because but no, I think like so many things changing, because like to me it just feels like, let's just get this out there because people know it's coming out, and then we'll do our other movies and not connect them. And I think, what is Shazam the next movie after this?
After Justice League?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
Honestly,
it's Shazam. Shazam.
and that's when they start going into like, oh no, they're separate movies. But then you get the weird end credits where Superman shows up, and you're just like,
Yeah,
make up your frickin' minds, guys.
because at that point it was kind of in the wind whether or not Henry Cavill was going to stick around, because they were like, yeah, we have, because at that point they're like, we have no plans to make a Man of Steel 2 anytime soon, and everybody was kind of like, you're dumb.
Yeah.
You're dumb. In fact, what we're gonna wait to announce it a week before James Gunn takes over. That way it looks like James Gunn's fault when he doesn't get to come back. I still think James Gunn was sabotaged, and it didn't work because everyone's like, yeah, no, we're still on board.
It'll be, I am very interested to see how Superman Legacy is taken. I want to say that he has enough credit. He has enough, like his movies have all done very well.
If Guardians 3 hadn't been as good as it was, I think people would be a bit more nervous.
Yeah.
But I think because Guardians 3 slapped as hard as it did, as well as, I mean, I know it's not your particular thing, but people love the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker.
I love Peacemaker. I thought
I know you love Peacemaker. It's the Suicide Squad you're not the biggest fan of, but
I
you're not
think
a
I
big
need
you're
to,
not into villain movies.
yeah,
So
I think I need to give it another shot.
I think you do too. I think you do too. Having watched Peacemaker, go into it with a Peacemaker mentality.
Yeah, I think that
Go into it like it's a Peacemaker prequel. Just go with that because it basically is. So I think James Gunn. I think it's going to depend on the trailer, but also as far as casting goes, I've yet to see anyone react other than people just being mad Cavill's not coming back. I haven't seen anybody I haven't seen like big outcries for shitty people, because when Ben Affleck was announced as Batman, people were mad. When
yeah.
Robert Pattinson was announced as Batman, people were mad. No one has been announced so far for Superman Legacy that anyone's been like, what the fuck? Everyone's like, yeah, no, that's cool. The only one that's kind of got people scratching their head is the guy playing Superman because he's not
Ain't
like a
seen him.
big name. He's been a supporting, but Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, kind of a no-brainer. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, it makes all the sense in the world. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, basically playing Captain Hammer with a Green Lantern ring. That's fantastic. And everyone else, yeah. So all that to say, to tie this back to Justice League marks a problematic, because I honestly do think that the DCEU died with Snyder Cut. I really do, because everything outside of that is just Warner Brothers throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks to the Velcro.
Yeah.
Whether or not you liked it, it was all just random movies that were connected because they said they were connected. But you could tell me they're all independent and it wouldn't matter a lick. So to me, Justice League, whichever, the Snyder Cut is kind of where the DCEU for me emotionally kind of just stops, because anything after that is just like, I mean, yeah, Blue Beetle's awesome, but again, that's why he's getting folded into the DC into James Gunn's, because it's like that truly is independent enough. Everything that went down with Shazam and Black Adam and all that it's such a hot mess. So,
all right, I have 3 questions for you to wrap this up. You ready?
Hit me.
Number 1, now that we're probably not going to do a Man of Steel episode, I imagine. We're kind of done with.
I swear we already did.
We've discussed it here and there when we discussed the reboot of the trilogy.
Hit me with it.
Of all the DC EU movies,
okay,
which one is your favorite?
Ooh, that's hard. That's really hard. It's ooh, god damn. I'm not, man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think it is Man of Steel.
I think it is for me.
It's honestly, it's a tie between, because while I do unabashedly really like BVS Ultimate Edition and the Snyder Cut, because of just the drama surrounding them, it makes it hard for me to enjoy them fully, I think. And I love the Suicide Squad, but I still, Man of Steel just slaps in all the right ways for me.
Yeah, it has some issues, but what I'll say,
it's the most complete movie.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like Wonder Woman would be number 1, except it craps itself so hard in the third.
Yeah, if that ending was just a hair better, Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman might be my number 3. I think Wonder Woman's my number. I think it goes Man of Steel, the Suicide Squad, and then Wonder Woman, and then after that's probably the Snyder Cut, and then maybe Blue Beetle. But only because Blue Beetle's so new, I haven't had enough time to live with it yet. But I will say, I rewatched it the other day. God, it's still good.
Yeah, I think but I think that's the Man of Steel's the most complete, because look, I may not agree with some of those choices, but they're consistent choices for that film and that story.
It's the most, in terms of just being a complete, cohesive, coherent film from a purely filmmaking standpoint, I think it's the best one in all of them.
Which is sad since it was the first one.
I know. I think the biggest problems with Man of Steel are more in terms of taste than actual filmmaking.
So my next question,
just gonna gloss over that part. Okay, all right. What's your second question?
If you could have Ben Affleck come back for Batman in the Gunverse, would you do it?
1,000%. Sign me up right now.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm actually gonna say no, only because I know he doesn't want to do it. I know Ben Affleck doesn't want to do it. He's as a guy who has he's a guy who has struggled throughout this whole process. The being Batman, while it was a dream for him, was so draining on him mentally that that his marriage fell apart. He had to go back to rehab and everything. I would say no because I don't want to put the poor guy through that. That being said, if he was like, "Hey, I'd love to come back and do it for James Gunn," and James Gunn was like, "Okay," I would dance because Batfleck's one of the best things to ever happen to DC films.
All right. Third one.
Yeah.
Again, DCFU, DCEU
Yeah.
is encapsulated now.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else of the various characters in this universe? Because we know we're getting Cena as Peacemaker, we're getting Vigilante, we're getting Amanda Waller, we're getting Blue Beetle.
Yep.
I think that's the only people that he has said are coming over.
Because nothing's been confirmed as far as Gal Gadot or Momoa yet, or Cyborg or Martian Manhunter. So who would I like? Who out of all of those that have not been confirmed?
Anybody. Like, it doesn't matter. Heroes, villains, anybody. Would you be like, yes, bring them over?
Okay. Oh Jesus. Joe. Sofia Vergara's ex.
Joe Manganiello.
Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke. Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke. Man, we got 15 seconds of it in both Justice Leagues, and the promise of him being the villain in a Batman movie. And when you see him take that helmet off and you're like, oh, I'm looking at a comic book panel come to life. And just knowing that Joe Manganiello is a huge nerd and would commit to this 1,000%, give me that. But I'll also, as a consolation prize, I will take Henry Lennox as Martian Manhunter. Because I think casting wise, that is good casting for, and I loved the design of Martian Manhunter that we see at the end of the Snyder Cut. And that is a character that is really easy to make dumb looking.
Yeah.
It's a very dated look for a character, and they found a way to make it look good. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
It's a hard question, though. It's a hard question because like, I want to say Momoa's Aquaman, but I haven't seen the new one, and I've heard it kind of sucks pretty hard. So I don't know. And also, he's been being running his mouth a little bit, kind of like Zach Levi lately, where it's like Zachary. I would have said Zachary Levi in a heartbeat if he hadn't been such a prick. Because now I'm kind of like, you know what? Screw you, dude. If you're gonna be this way, never mind. I don't want you back. But that's just me. I don't know. It's hard to say because other than Batman, other than Batfleck, I think Blue Beetle would have been the only other one where I like absolutely want him back because I love that kid as Blue Beetle. I still can't say his name right, and I'm not going to try. But that movie is very good, and he was great casting as Jaime. So I'm glad he's going to be back. But other than him, it's probably Martian Manhunter or Deathstroke.
I think there's both good calls.
Yeah.
Joe Manganiello. I mean, I want to make a joke, but you're not going to get it. As long as somebody calls him Slade. But you're going to have to watch Teen Titans Go movie to get that.
Absolutely not. Not a chance in hell. Every time you try to get me to watch that show, you describe something from it to me, and then I'm like, yeah, that's doing the opposite. I don't care.
I know you're never going to watch it. That's
never
why
going to watch
it up.
But
have you watched RR yet?
No, I have not. It's one of those on my mile-long to-watch list.
Okay.
But
okay, yeah, I think the Joe Manganiello thing is good. I mean, we already talked about Jeremy Irons. It'd be great to have him back.
Yeah, but I don't want to see him without Ben Affleck is the thing.
Yeah. I don't like, we're not getting Cavill. That would have been fine with me, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I want to say Will Smith as Deathstroke. No, Deadshot, but
it's Deadshot. Yeah, he was good. I'll give you one. It'll never happen, but David S. Malchin is Polka Dot Man.
They'd have to resurrect him, huh?
Yeah, they would, because he died, unfortunately, which is a bummer because he's one of the best parts of that damn movie.
You know what? I'll say this.
Yeah.
If you could get Joel Kinnaman to play a Rick Flag, the way he did in The Suicide Squad, the lame way he did in Suicide Squad, I'd want him back. I really liked him in Altered Carbon.
I still haven't watched Altered Carbon. Everyone keeps telling me I would love it as a Blade Runner guy, and I haven't made the attempt to watch it yet.
2,000,000,000%.
Yeah, I'll give you another one, and this is an odd one to throw out there, but and I don't remember his name, but Diablo from the first Suicide Squad. Say what you will about that movie, El Diablo's character in that movie was the only one that had growth, development, and seemed like he gave a shit.
Yeah.
Other than Margot Robbie, but
Do you want Margot Robbie back as Harley Quinn?
I do, but I'm gonna need them to give her a better script, because the first Suicide Squad, she was just reduced to kind of I thought she did a good job with what she was given. Birds of Prey is a hot mess, and I liked what they gave her in the Suicide Squad. I just wanted more, because she's not in the movie a whole heck of a lot, and when she is, she's mostly just not really doing anything. So if we're gonna get her back as Harley, cool, but then I want her to go full Harley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially because I've been spoiled by Kaylee Cuoco's Harley Quinn on the animated show. So like to me right now, Kaylee Cuoco and Arlene Sorkin / Tara Strong are kind of the gold standard of Harleys. I need something that's going to make me feel that way again. So if they want to bring her back and she wants to come back, great. I also am currently thinking, though, they might not be able to afford Margot Robbie.
Well, I mean, do you think if she plays Harley Quinn again, they'll actually give her an Oscar? Or is that too soon?
Man, the disrespect. The disrespect. I still haven't seen Barbie. It's one of those, I will watch it at some point. I know, Matt, it just wasn't your movie. But so I can't comment on whether or not she and Greta Gerwig deserved nominations, because I haven't seen the movie.
They don't.
However, what I will say is the irony of the situation is not lost on me, and the optics of the situation are not good. But I also wrote the Oscars off years ago, so I honestly do not give a shit.
I will say Ryan Gosling totally deserves that Oscar. As far as the nomination.
That's what even people I know who hate that movie are like Ryan Gosling. But I'm also like, yeah, okay, that doesn't help with the irony part of it, though. That like the only actor people are saying deserved it, that these guys are saying deserved it, is the male. It's like, I know, guys, you're not helping the case here, though. But again, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't comment on it. And also, screw the Oscars. So who cares?
Correct.
All right, it's been so much fun doing these Batman breakdowns, going back and recapping all the Batman live action movies we've had. I can't help but feel like we're forgetting one, Matt. Is there, because there's no way the Snyder Cut was the last live action Batman movie we got, was it? Wasn't there one more? Oh, that's right, The Batman. I'm sure you guys might be wondering, well, now wait a second. Aren't you going to break down The Batman?
Yes, we are.
We did that on our first episode of the show, guys. We did a full review of the movie. However, our last breakdown is going to be not so much a breakdown, but a look back at revisiting the Batman to a year and a half, almost 2 years since it came out, for February, and looking back on it, seeing how our feelings on it have changed, if at all, from when we reviewed it for our first episode till now. Do we love it more? Do we love it less? Are there things that have changed? How do we feel about going forward because the Penguin's coming this year, and then part 2 is coming next year. So our final live action breakdown will be a look back at the Batman, based on just from how we felt from our first episode up until this. And then starting in March, if you didn't see our Facebook post, by the way, follow us on Facebook. We're putting cool stuff up there. We are going to start in March. Matt, why don't you tell them what we're doing in March?
In March, we're going to start doing what's called the year 1 or year 2, year 3 stories about some of the Bat family characters. Batman has a year 1, 2, and 3. Batgirl has a year 1. Robin has a year 1, and Nightwing has a year 1. Now, I've read all of them. Have you read all of them?
I've read year 1 and year 2 of Batman. The others I haven't read. So this is going to be fun for me going into them fresh to get that, you're somebody who's read them already, so you can attest to them, how they've held up over the years. I get to read them for the first time and give fresh takes on them. But Yeah, and then after that, we're going to be doing some. We're gonna get through the year ones, the early years of the Bat family and Batman, and then some other. We're going to be doing a lot of comic book stuff this year. There's not a lot of movies going on, and we're going to have to wait a bit for TV to get here. So we're going to do some more comic book stuff, do some more writing stuff. But yeah, starting the last Friday of March 29th.
Sounds perfect.
Don't quote me on that date. We'll be doing be kicking it off with Batman Year One. We'll be talking about the comic book and inevitably the movie.
Yes.
Spoiler alert: we don't like the movie.
Not at all.
The movie's fine as far as an adaptation. And Ben, what's his name, doing the voice of Batman?
McKenzie?
Ben McKenzie is Batman. Not even once.
Yeah,
not even once. But
let us know what you think of Justice League.
Please do.
Do you like Snyder Cut? Do you like the Whedon Cut? Do you like none of them?
Yeah, let us know your thoughts.
And if you could bring somebody from the DCU into the new Gunverse beyond what he said, is there anybody you'd want to bring over? We want to know.
Seriously, let us know. Let us know on Facebook. You can comment on our Facebook page. If you're using the Good Pods podcast app, you can comment on this episode and rate this episode. By the way, thank you to everybody listening to us on the Good Pods app for keeping us in the top 10 indie comic book lists every month. We love you guys for it. As always, follow the show, like I said, on Facebook. We are going to start, Matt doesn't know this yet, but we're going to be starting to put the show on YouTube, not a video. But if you want to, YouTube has a podcast option now where you can distribute your podcasts onto YouTube and to the YouTube Music app. So if you're somebody who uses those to get your content, we're going to be on there soon. More details on that to come. But let us know that. You can also let us know directly. You can find me on social media at Mr. Mike Shea. You
can find me on Twitter at Mr. J Ninja.
That is going to do it for this week. We'll see you guys again next time on We Are the Batman, same Bat Time, same Bat Podcast channel.
Bye-bye.